In today's assembly, we will be discussing a sensitive topic, as well as bringing you an exciting announcement. In the first segment, we'll touch on themes such as eating disorders, body image, and food. If anyone would now like to leave, or at any point during this part, they can. Your form tutor will now direct you to a safe space. You're welcome to come back for the lighter second half of the assembly. If any of the topics discussed today resonate with you on any level, I would like to encourage you that the pastoral office is always available for you to voice any of your concerns. In today's Britain, data estimates over 1.3 million of us currently suffer from eating disorders. As teenagers, we are unfortunately the group that feels the impact of this statistic the most. Eating disorders are a group of mental illnesses in which the control of food is used to cope with difficult situations or feelings. They do not discriminate in their targets, and the implications of these illnesses can be severe in the short term. Still, unfortunately, due to their often psychologically underpinned foundations, the long-term effects are invariably devastating, both to the sufferer and the people around them. Medical research tells us that the onset of eating disorders often happens during adolescence. This means it is becoming increasingly more likely that we will, if not ourselves directly, know someone who has to face or deal with the chaoses that these illnesses bring. People may be suffering from an eating disorder and not even realise it. This is why we need to be equipped to recognise the issue and guide friends and loved ones to seek the right help, and importantly, in the right moments. I emphasise the point, the right moment, as spotting the first signs of symptoms of an eating disorder is paramountly important when encouraging individuals to get the help and support they need as quickly as possible. If you had concerns about yourself or anyone else in your life for that matter, please seek advice in school. This could mean speaking to a trusted teacher or form tutor, or as I mentioned earlier, through the support of the pastoral office. To understand the symptoms which may often present in people affected by these unrelenting mental illnesses, I'll now look at one of its most common offenders amongst adolescents, anorexia nervosa. This is the medical name commonly assigned to the psychiatric illness with the highest global mortality rate, known as anorexia commonly. What is anorexia then? The NHS defines the condition as an eating disorder characterised by weight loss and distorted body image. People with anorexia generally restrict the number of calories and the types of food that they eat. I suppose the obvious question here is why? Why would you choose to complicate your relationship with food, harm yourself and those around you? Why would you choose not to be healthy? The answer is simple. It's not a choice. Eating disorders are not a choice. They are a safety blanket. They're a catalogue of rules which eliminate chance. They give people a sense of control. This is a crucial distinction we must make when discussing anorexia. It's not about the food, it's about feeling in control. The same sense of control that every one of us human beings strives for in our everyday lives. The most devastating effect anorexia has, aside from its obvious physiological implications, is its ability to isolate individuals. We humans have a tendency to place food at the centre of so many of our celebrations and social interactions, be it Christmas, Eid al-Adha, or even just going out for a birthday meal. The result is that this can make people feel cast aside from their own families, friendship groups, or in the worst cases, from society altogether. This is what often exacerbates the issue in itself. It makes the signs exceedingly difficult to spot. And for this reason, it's vitally important that we are equipped to identify these often subtle indicators. Symptoms of anorexia may vary from person to person, but some of the main signs include avoiding food social interactions, significant swings in mood, change in habits and lack of intent towards usual activities, rapid changes or fluctuations in appearance. Dieting culture itself is a phenomenon that has risen to the forefront over the last decade, thanks to the easy access social media provides. Take one healthy scroll through Instagram and you'll find endless pseudo-health products endorsed by everyone's favourite Instagram models. And it's not like that's news. We've been told time and time again the threats that social media pose and the need for us all to take everything we read with a hard grain of salt. But the issue here lies in the fact that social media is only the catalyst. The issue extends way beyond our phones. It's the billboards and posters we subconsciously ingested on our way into school today. It's the piercing looks we get when we change the way we style our hair, our shoes, our trousers, our coats. It's the feeling of expectation we unknowingly perpetuate all the time. And when you substitute the variables of someone's body image and society's idealized body type into this model of glorification, it's hardly surprising the eating disorder epidemic is worse today than it's ever been. Eating disorders are moving targets, therefore. They change in response to the body type a society idealizes. But doesn't that mean there's a ray of hope? If we apply this principle, it means that the control lies in the hands of us, in our friendship groups, in our communities, and in the footprints we leave on social media. We can influence the culture we live in, and we must. We must actively take steps to eradicate the stigmas that have been left to linger in the back of our minds for too long now. We must create an environment where people suffering from disorders like anorexia can reach out and seek recovery with no shame or thought of judgment. And we must start paying attention to the signs.
Recovering from an eating disorder is like riding a bike for the very first time. You can fall at any point, it seriously hurts and can actually knock your confidence. This is a quote from the Beat charity website. Eating disorder recovery is different for each and every person. For some people, it might mean that they never have another eating disorder thought again. For others, it means that although these thoughts are still there, they happen less frequently and they're able to control them through the coping mechanisms and techniques they've learned, meaning they no longer have the same impact on their daily life. I personally have struggled for over 7 years with anorexia, bulimia, and overexercising. For the first 4 years, I struggled alone and kept my feelings and thoughts a secret. I was so ashamed to talk to anyone and felt that no one would understand. The first person I told was my closest friend, and it was one of the most difficult conversations I ever had. But after telling her, I felt in control again. She did not cure my body dysmorphia or force me to eat, but the fact that one person knew meant I was not fighting alone anymore. Do not be afraid to ask for help. It is important to remember that recovering from an eating disorder is hardly ever a straightforward process, because an eating disorder is often a means of coping with or feeling in control of difficult emotions or situations. The idea of life without it can be very frightening, and you may feel conflicted about recovery. Nobody expects you to smoothly walk along your path towards recovery. I've had multiple relapses, and sometimes I feel like I've made no progress at all. But looking back to my lowest, to where I am now, proves that you can take a few steps backwards and still be moving forward. If someone you love or know is struggling with an eating disorder, you can help. Be prepared for negative reactions. Whatever their response may be, reiterate your concerns. Let them know you care and leave the conversation open. Remind them that there is no shame in admitting you struggle with an eating disorder. It is also important to remember you might not be able to help them completely and that they may require professional help in order to get better. But you can be the support and encouragement they need to gain the confidence to get that help. There are also many organisations and charities that support people to take positive steps towards recovery. The Beat Eating Disorder charity is one of them. Their mission is to end the pain and suffering caused by eating disorders. Beat UK has a national helpline that exists to encourage and empower people to get help quickly. People can contact them online or by phone 365 days a year, while also supporting family and friends, equipping them with essential skills and advice so they can help their loved ones recover, whilst also looking after their own mental health. The charity campaigns to increase knowledge among healthcare and other relevant professionals, and for better funding for high quality treatment so that when people are brave enough to take the vital steps towards recovery, the right help is available to them. The work they do means that every year lives are saved, families are kept together, and people are able to live free of eating disorders, which is why we are fundraising for the charity through the KCH Talent Show.
Alright, so before I begin, I have a legal obligation to say this is not school uniform. You must wear black trousers. It's out of working hours and my trousers are in the wash. So, yeah. So this was meant to be the exciting part of the assembly. I don't really know what to call it anymore, but some of you may have heard through Kitchen's Assembly last Friday, or seen the posters around school, or just generally heard that we are trying to put on Camp Hill's Got Talent. Some of you may be privileged enough to remember the last time we did Camp Hill's Got Talent, and it truly was an amazing event, and we're hoping to recreate something similar in support of Beat UK, the charity we've spoken about today. And the plan was to, through a series of fundraisers, as Kishan mentioned in his assembly, to raise a lot of money. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we've had to postpone everything. So the good news is we will still be putting on Camp Hill's Got Talent, just not in the next few weeks. It will probably be at the end of this term. So keep your eye out for news regarding it. But the good news is it will still happen. Having said that, I want to say thank you to everyone for listening to the message today. We believed it was such an important message. So I hope you can appreciate that. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.